What's up YouTube world? It's your girl here back at it again with another video. If you're new to my channel, hi, welcome. My name is Garvey and on this channel we talk about all things health, hair, fitness, lifestyle, really whatever you guys want to see. Before we even get into the content, can we just take a second to appreciate that my kombucha totally coordinates with the flowers that I got from the farmer's market this weekend. This video isn't sponsored, but Synergy, I've slid in your DMs a few times, so if you're seeing this video, you already know what to do. I am more than willing to collab. Speaking of DMs, you guys should already be following me on Instagram. Be for real. I plug in every single video. I haven't been shy about trying to get my followers up. So if you're not already following me, please take a second to go look in the description. It's linked there. I really love it when you guys interact with my content. It makes me want to keep creating it. If you've already been following me on Instagram, then you've seen that I have been traveling. International trips, weekend trips, jumping from state to state. Like, I am gone more than I am at home. And my friends always joke with me because they literally have to see when I'm gonna be in town, like book me in advance because I'm not gonna be here, baby. If there's an opportunity to travel, I'm taking it. And if you've also seen my previous video, then you know that recently I also did a solo trip to Belize. It was my first solo trip and I really enjoyed myself. That just gave me a whole lot more confidence to travel by myself. Even though I did get briefly kidnapped, it was a soft kidnapping. Go check out the video if you haven't already. But yeah, point being, I love traveling. I'm always gone. And so I've kind of learned how to take pictures by myself. You're not always gonna have somebody to take photos of you, whether you're solo traveling or your friends just aren't really getting your right angles, or maybe your family is sick and tired of taking photos of you. Sorry, mom. These are 3 tips that I've used recently to get bomb vacation photos, and we're about to get you right. Okay, so my first tip, and this one has definitely been said before, it's been said time and time again, and it's because it's tried and true, is to invest in a good tripod and really just work on perfecting taking photos of yourself. It does take some time, it takes some practice, but honestly, now that I have the hang of it, I sometimes prefer taking photos on my tripod more than asking someone else to take a photo of me. Last year for Christmas, my mom got me this Pivo, and what it does is it actually tracks your movement so you're always in frame. I did attempt to use it while I was in Belize, but I just wasn't as familiar with the app and the programming and the remote, so I found it easier to just kind of set up my tripod like I always did and take photos that way. But I do think that this would be helpful, especially if you're doing like videos where you're walking around and moving. I'll insert a video that I did take with the Pivo. I had just opened it and was just trying to like figure out how to use it. I do think that this is helpful. Again, like I just haven't had an opportunity to play around with it enough to give it a solid review. Usually wherever I go, I try to keep a super compact tripod. This one isn't the best, it is a little flimsy. I was trying to take pictures the other day and it literally fell into oncoming traffic, so maybe not this one, but I do like this one because it's compact. I keep this one everywhere I go, and I also keep 2 clickers in case one runs out of battery. And then the last thing I have in terms of taking pictures using the tripod is this app called Lens Buddy, which at first, again, like it took me a second to adjust to, but it essentially does like a timer and it'll take continuous photos of you. I remember when I was using it in Belize, I was literally switching up my poses like while I was taking the picture, so it takes you a second to get into the rhythm of things. But what I do like about Lens Buddy is that you can use the 0.5 regular zoom, you know, you can do all those cool iPhone features, and because I have the iPhone 14 Pro, the camera quality kind of sucks, and I actually noticed that using Lens Buddy, it gets it back to like that picture quality before the iPhone 14 Pro auto adjusts the color and stuff. So I've newly started using Lens Buddy religiously, but I do like it, and it like shouts out compliments at you. And yeah, so far I've been using Lens Buddy way more now than I used to. I use it more than the clicker these days, but I do just like to carry it just in case. Okay, you guys, tip number 2, and this one is by far my most favorite. I'm really putting y'all up on game with this one, so thank me later, is to seek out local photographers wherever you're going to be traveling. This is by far my most favorite tip. I've had so much fun, such a great experience shooting with local photographers. I always feel like I leave with a new friend, You know, they show you this part of the island or the country that you might not have otherwise seen. You really get the local experience. It's just a vibe. The collaboration is incredible. If you think about it, usually if they're from a small country, a small island, whatever, they are used to working with the same faces over and over again, so they're eager to get new people in front of the camera. And, you know, so it's a win-win. It's truly a collaborative experience, and I just speak so highly of it. But anyway, that's enough talking. I'm gonna give you guys the exact messages that I send to photographers when I'm on vacation to collaborate with them. Now, keep in mind, I have done shoots for free. I usually do shoots for free. I do model, so I have just a little bit of clout, but I do think that the experience would be just as great even if you do end up paying for the shoot. Alright, I'm gonna post the actual message on the screen while I'm reading. This example is Kylie. Shout out Kylie. She's a photographer in Belize. We really just vibed, had an incredible time, but this is the exact message that I sent her. I said, "Hi Kylie, I came across your Instagram recently and I'm a huge fan of your work. My name is Garvey. I'm a model, actress, lifestyle influencer, and avid traveler from California. I have 5 years of camera experience partnering with global brands and acting. I've worked on everything from national campaigns and Netflix series to social media ads. I'm visiting Belize at the end of March, beginning of April, and wanted to reach out about potential collaboration. I love your aesthetic and would be open to any concepts you would like to shoot." So, key thing here is I sent it at the beginning of the month and I was traveling at the end of the month. Make sure that you give them enough time to see where you can fit in their schedule. If you are like a super planner like I can be sometimes, it's a good idea to have an idea of when you're going to be shooting with them so you can plan the rest of your vacation accordingly too. Again, this might be a downside, but you do have to be flexible with them and kind of plan your vacation around the shoot. Remember, they're doing you a favor, so, you know, try to be as flexible and give them as much notice as possible. Okay, so after that, I usually see, you know, what they're gonna say. Usually right off the bat, they'll say, "Yes, I have availability," or, you know, "No, I'm not doing collaborations at this time." But if they do express some sort of interest, I usually say that I would love to see whatever concepts they have in mind. Sometimes these photographers, again, they work with the same faces over and over again, so this is a great opportunity for them to, you know, really flex their skills, try something new. So I always ask if they have any concepts that they already wanted to shoot, and then I also offer a mood board in return. So going into reaching out to them, you know, take a look at their style, what kind of photography they specialize in, and usually I'll create a mood board accordingly, and then you can kind of go back and forth, really collaborate on the shoot. You can agree to shoot some concepts that they want to shoot and then also go in and shoot what you've been wanting to shoot. It really is a collaborative effort at this point. And by the way, you know, if you really aren't wanting to pay, make sure that you're very upfront about this really from the jump. Like, you don't want to turn around and do your shoot and they're expecting to be paid. Usually they wouldn't let it get that far, but really just be specific and honest in that it's a collaboration. Like, reiterate that it's a collaboration, because you don't want to turn around and, you know, you don't have a photographer, or you know what I mean. Just be super upfront from the beginning. From there, you can start discussing things like hair and makeup. I know some of these photographers also do hair and makeup, or they know a makeup artist that might want to collaborate. So at this point, you can kind of discuss all of those little details like outfits. They might pick up your wardrobe, or they might want you to bring some pieces with you when you travel. So kind of iron out all of these details beforehand. Traveling to Aruba, I actually got curved by a photographer. She essentially told me that, like, she doesn't do collaborations unless it's something of her own vision, and she wouldn't have the availability while I was traveling. And so I felt really bad because I really wanted to collaborate with her, but I just couldn't afford her shoot. But she ended up reaching back out to me, and she had this vision that she wanted to shoot at the same time that I would be in Aruba, and we ended up collaborating, and it was the most incredible experience of my life. Like, I highly recommend collaborating with local photographers. It's just a great time, and reach out to multiple photographers too. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Something might fall through with one last minute, like, you never really know. So reach out to multiple people, make sure that you actually vibe with their aesthetic or their style of photography, because you also don't want to just reach out to any and everybody. But it ends up being a great time, and don't stop at no. Like, you know, it could be a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it. Alright, so my third and final tip for you guys is to literally just ask somebody to take your photos. And before you click out of this video, I know what you're thinking, come on Garvey, that's obvious to ask somebody to take your photos. I'm going to give you some pointers on how to actually scout out somebody who's good at taking photos. Okay, first example, I was recently in Chicago on business, and I got there a whole day before the conference just so I can explore Chicago and, you know, check things out. I haven't really been to Chicago, so I was super excited to go to the Bean, but when I got there, I was actually really intimidated by the amount of people that were just like concentrated in one area. So what I did I did end up breaking out my tripod eventually, but at first I kind of just scoped out the scene. I saw where people were taking photos. Again, for my first tip, I looked on Instagram to see kind of like the best poses, the best positions around the Bean to get good light, to get a good picture. And I kind of just scoped out the whole situation for a few minutes. And what I was scoping out was, one, other people that were traveling by themselves, because these are good people to ask, like, hey, are you traveling by yourself? Kind of strike up a conversation, and then it's like, you take a photo of me, I'll take a photo of you. That usually works out pretty well. The next thing you can do is also seek out like a group of people. You can go up to them and say, hey, like, do you want me to take a picture of your family? And then same thing, like, you'll usually exchange a photo. But those things are basic, right? Like, everybody knows that. My pro tip is to really like look at who's taking photos. So when I was scoping things out, I saw two girls that looked to be about my age, and also a couple, they looked to be about my age too. And what I was looking for with them is the angles that they were getting of their friends. Like, were they getting the background? Were they getting the angles? Did they have the sun in the light direction? Things like that. And those are the people that you want to recruit for your pictures. What you're going to want to do is kind of stand a little bit away, like, don't just stare at them taking photos, and don't just kind of like go up to them and stare at them taking photos, but you're gonna wait till there's a pause in them taking photos. Maybe they're like looking at their phone, checking them out, and then you're gonna approach them and say, hey, you look like you know what you're doing. Compliment them, like, you look like you take fire pictures, something like that, and then say, hey, would you mind taking photos of me? 10 times out of 10, they're gonna say yes. And now the key with this is not to kind of like overextend your welcome. Like, don't have them take 500 pictures of you. Have them take a few of them. Maybe if you feel comfortable, look at a few of them and say, hey, I really like this. Again, like, this is where it comes in handy to kind of know your angles and what you're looking for. You give them an example like, hey, I like this one that you took. Would you please mind taking a few more like this one that you took? And now, so you've scoped them out, so you know they know what they're doing at least a little bit, and usually this goes super smoothly. But if it doesn't, you know, just make your way back to the little sidelines over there and scope out your next person to take your photo. So I was honestly at the Bean for maybe like 15 minutes just asking different people to take my pictures, and then setting up my tripod. And again, like, you have to get over that fear of people looking at you, because they're gonna look. But it's so ingrained in our society now that people are, you know, gonna take pictures, and, you know, you need to capture the moment. Somebody's gotta do it. You just have the confidence to do it that day. Like, don't be scared. When I was in Belize, I actually went to this beach called Secret Beach, and I guess everybody goes during the day, but I pulled up at sunset and there was literally nobody else there. There was like me, one other family, and then a local guy like drinking the beer in the water. And again, I saw him taking pictures of the sunset, but these weren't just any photos. He had like the camera flipped upside down. He was going in and out and getting the angles. And I scoped him out and ended up striking up a conversation with him and asked him to take some photos of me. And they're actually fire. I'll put one here. But we ended up chatting and kind of just watching the sunset, and, you know, he was telling me about Belize, and yeah, it's just a great experience. Again, just use your best judgment though. If somebody looks like they're kind of out of place or they're about to run off with your phone, they probably are. So yeah, but honestly, nothing really comes bad from asking someone to take your photos, and then sometimes you kind of break the tension or you start a conversation with someone new, and who knows, they can end up being your next travel buddy. Alright, well that's the last tip that I had for you guys today. If you have any specific questions about how I reach out to photographers, make sure that you comment down below. As always, please like and subscribe. Make sure you give me a follow on Instagram. If you guys like this travel content, I have been on a travel kick recently. Like, I would be happy to show you guys how I pack. I really feel that I have packing down to a science, so make sure that you interact with this video. It lets me know that you guys want to see more content like this one. It really just encourages me to keep creating content in general. So if you've made it this far, I appreciate you for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!